build a new coach, and away we go. Others say, well, let's try and get it back on an even keel for a couple of minutes. All move to the other side of the coach. You listen to McCain and Obama, you wouldn't think of anything's going on. You look at Obama's contributions, the biggest names in Wall Street are completely happy with him. Completely happy. They showered him with money. He has, of course, headed for 2 major lobbies and issued statements satisfactory to these lobbies. On the 23rd of May, he went to the Cuban American Foundation in Miami. I don't know how many of you have actually read the speech, but it was an absolutely awful speech. Really bad. I'll give you one paragraph. Of course, the Cuba stuff, I need hardly say that he did not find much to hope for in Fidel Castro's Cuba. Now we turn to what he said about Colombia. When I am president, we will continue the Andean counter-drug program, and we will update it to meet evolving challenges. We will fully support Colombia's fight against the FARC. We will work with the government to end the reign of terror from right-wing paramilitaries. Well, needless to say, the right-wing paramilitaries are totally at the beck and call of the government. So there's a preposterous statement right there. We will support, listen to this next line, we will support Colombia's right to strike terrorists who seek safe haven across its borders. What does that refer to? That is an explicit endorsement of Colombia's bombing raid, intended successfully, by the way, to murder a FARC leader in his encampment in Ecuador, which aroused passionate fury in Latin America. Here is Obama saying, good deal. Made my day. Absolutely no distinction, no light between that and the Bush position. So did the Obama speech offer some semblance of rationality and a policy towards Latin America? Absolutely not. And this at a time when the coercive powers of the Cuban American Foundation are not what they were. Southern Florida's changed. The old Alpha 66 guys are either dead or sitting on the front porch, waving their sticks. Different generation. The Cuban component in Southern Florida has got a whole nother bunch of people in there. It's a very different place. But Obama goes down there whoring after the Cuban American Foundation vote. Disgusting. And then last Wednesday, where does he go? He goes to AIPAC, where, I don't know, some of you may have read the speech. You could probably write it in advance. Not tough. A Democratic candidate at AIPAC? Oh, that's a tough assignment. We will also use, I'll just give you a couple of words from it. We will also use all elements of American power to pressure Iran. I will do everything in my power to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Then he departed from his text. Everything in my power, in case they didn't hear it the first time. Everything. And just in case one more, I mean everything. I guess that means, I don't know, 2 H-bombs, not 1. Israel should get whatever it wants, he says, that's indirect, and an undivided Jerusalem should be its capital. So right then and there, what did Obama do? He hung a bought and paid for sign around his neck, completely removing, unnecessarily, any margin for maneuver, any margin at all. Not one word about one of the great crimes in the world today, which is the siege and starvation of the civilians of Gaza. Not one. Not one word about the hideous, unending abuses of human rights of Palestinians. Not one word about the obstructionism lying in the path of any just and equitable peace. So that's what we got from Obama. Now, many people think, and I think it's a characteristic I've noticed down the years, and they say he had to say that. He had to say it. And they say, well, and in there, there's a secret Obama. Look, behind that front one, there's another shadowy Obama who's the good one. If you half close your eyes, you can just see it there. No one said, I think there's a good Ron Paul. I mean, the guy is what you have. What you see is what you get. That's why people said, he's my guy. Now, when you hit the big time, do you have to trim a little bit? Do you have to do this, do that? Maybe you have to do a bit. But in the end, you've got to more or less be on track with what you are. More or less, otherwise you're doomed. And of course, every word that Obama has said has committed him more to the position which he is. He will enter, he may have left the Illinois State Senate a former community organizer on the west side of Chicago, where obviously you're going to be a bit more radical. Now he's in the US Senate. He's done the bidding of the credit card companies. He's done the business, signed on to some pretty bad bills, which take a lot of state court ability to sue corporations and puts them in the federal system, where they'll be lost forever. Significant long-term decisions which will impact badly ordinary people and the power of private people to sue corporations. He's done that. But still people say, they're a bit like, Pascal. Pascal was tormented by the thought, is there a God, isn't there a God? And he made this famous bet, which I reread the other day, where he more or less decided, look, you can't really say whether there's a God or isn't a God, but you might as well bet that there is, just on the odds. And a lot of people on the left think, well, he may be good, he may be bad, but I'll just put my money on him. Pascal wrote, if I see no signs of divinity, if I saw no signs of a divinity, I would fix myself in denial. If I saw everywhere the marks of a creator, I would repose peacefully in faith. But seeing too much to deny him and too little to assure me, I am in a pitiful state. That's the Democrats. And I would wish 100 times that if God sustains nature, it would reveal him without ambiguity. They always want something real and something you can hang your hat on. They don't get that. So they're in this state of denial. They have to realize in the end that if you're going to get any significant change, you can't at the last minute say, well, Obama's the better deal. You have to maintain some form of consistency. So where are we at now long term? I think what the Paul campaign showed is that if you resolutely stick to some very simple basic issues, war and the need to oppose it, basic human rights. I mean, I have a friend I buy old cars from occasionally. When I met him 30 years ago in South Carolina, he was a sheriff's volunteer deputy. In his trailer he had Christian Broadcasting Network, Bible, and a gun, the basic furniture of the junker. Here he is 25 years later, watches the television's got many channels on it. He said, Alec, he said, if I see a straight trooper driving behind me now, I turn off. He says, I don't want to get thrown over the hood of my car and beat up. This is a redneck from South Carolina. People know the cops are out of control. Every county you go to has got stories. My hometown of Eureka, they've blown away 4 people in the last 3 years. One of them was a homeless woman in her place. She'd been hollering out the window. And of course, they have a SWAT team. Every small town has a SWAT team now. The SWAT, very exciting, lots of federal money and money from this and money from that. And they're all dressed up to the nines in their SWATness. And of course, they go swarming into the hotel. They go crashing up the stairs. They kick the door down. The woman's holding a cell phone. Oh, did that look like a .44 Magnum. And so they blew her away. Happened somewhere.